Ladies and gentlemen, my name is TotalBiscuit here with some Starcraft 2 action for you featuring Axiom.Impact. He is in the orange trunks, and he is playing Zerg to the south here of Polar Knight versus his opponent. To the north position, the man that took him out in his first ever GSTL match for the team of Axiom. He is from Team FXO, he is playing Protoss, and he is Hurricane. Definitely one of FXOpen's stronger players at the moment. Hurricane is a force to be reckoned with, a force of nature, you might say. Rightfully so. He does not mess around. And it looks like we're going to be seeing a Forge fast expansion right here from him. We might see the Nexus before the Forge, but with the first pylon going down there, he very clearly wants to wall this area off in some way. The question, I suppose, will be, can Impact actually take revenge? Because against Hurricane, he struggled. Hurricane outplayed him most of the game. It was a pretty difficult match for Impact, who was looking to really impress in his first GSTL match and really wasn't able to quite achieve that. So, looking for a little bit of revenge. This is a match from the Red Bull qualifiers. So you can be expecting to see some interesting action because all of these guys are fighting for a spot, a paid spot, to go to the Red Bull Battlegrounds, which is a $50,000 tournament in New York at the end of November. So nobody is pulling any punches here whatsoever. The Korean qualifiers for this are absolutely stacked. There is not a bad player among them. Alright, well, it looks like we're going to be seeing a hatchery coming out here, but we might see a block by Hurricane, so it could take a little while. We've got Impact actually pulling down 2 drones to make sure this can go down, but he fails to put the hatchery down several times over. That's a significant delay already. Finally, it goes down there, but Hurricane absolutely pulled off what he needed to do there, just to delay that hatchery a little bit. He still gets some scouting information. He can go in there as the shields regenerate, and as a result, we're going to see the Nexus before the Forge. No need for the Forge to go down here for Hurricane. He knows there is no pull down, so there's no reason for him to have the Forge. There's certainly no earlier pull, so everything is above board. He can take the slightly greedier approach, which is to get the second Nexus down a little quicker. And as you can see here, the Forge and a pylon going in here for the wall-off. So this is a very traditional style of Protoss versus Zerg. Nothing out of the ordinary here for either player to begin with. And the spawning pool follow-up there for Impact. Now, as you can see on Polar Knight, you've got this back expansion here, but the main problem is a Zerg can't take it very quickly. So, 3 hatch before pool, or even just a very quick third base, is a little bit difficult unless you want to take it towards your opponent, which is what Impact's actually doing. And funnily enough, he pretty much did it within the sight of Hurricane. Hurricane did not see the hatchery go down, but he did see a drone go over there. And Hurricane also knows, since this is Polar Knight, there's no way there can be expansion back here, not this early on in the game. It's a very safe expansion, it's a nice one. This area is a little bit walled off, as you can see, but it's a nice place to put it, all the way at the back there. Not so much of a pocket expansion, like, say, maps like Terminus, old-school maps that had pocket expos on them, but it's still a pretty nice place to have it. Hurricane must be well aware of that, and this probe is still alive. Couple of things coming out to finally drive it away, and a couple of queens as well. So the question, I suppose, is where does Hurricane go from here? Because the Zerg player is playing a very economically focused style, and of course, getting up a third hatchery is indicative that he has no intention of doing any kind of crazy bust or anything like that. So this is going to go a little bit longer, and with this kind of build, Hurricane can't really do an awful lot. The traditional ways out of this take a little bit of time, and as you can see, the Cybernetics core is very, very late in comparison to regular builds, so this is going to complete at around the 5-minute 20 mark, so you can definitely get it a lot quicker than that, but with this build, the question is, where does he go? So immediately into Warp Gate here on the Cyber Core. So the amount of gas that the Protoss player's got is quite significant. He's still mining. He actually has 3 in each, and he's going to go for the Stargate. So the more traditional way of getting out of this, and this is kind of an old way of doing it, would be to go for a +1 Zealot aggression kind of build, but the Stargate is the other one that often happens when you've got this Forge wall off, because you don't really need to worry about getting troops out of here, you don't need to worry about breaking the wall or anything like that. You go Stargate, you start harassing. And what do you harass with? Well, it really depends. Sometimes Void Rays are built to try and take out the third base. That's a pretty good idea because the third base can be focused down quite quickly, especially with Zealot support. And in this case, this base is pretty far forward and kind of out of range. The creep spread has begun, but it hasn't got there yet, so reinforcing can be difficult. In the meantime, Impact took two expos here. Extractors, in fact, not expos. What the hell am I talking about? 2 extractors. One here and one over there. And they're going to be mining gas at a consistent rate. Question is, where does he want to go? He's still on drones, so he's currently at 47 and popping them up at a reasonable pace. Mothership Core now finally coming out here for Hurricane as well. Didn't need to get that too early, because why would you? Mothership Core is primarily a defensive unit, so you don't usually need it if you know your opponent's going 3 hatcheries and doesn't really have any units to speak of. So he's finally getting that out now. In the meantime, we do have a lair on the way up here for the Zerg player. And Evo Chamber on the way too. Okay. So where is this going? Well, the question, I suppose, is, are we going to see more gas? And indeed we are. 2 more gas coming down here, and double Spore Crawler. Huh. So the Stargate, of course, was scouted. Phoenixes can be a little bit of a problem for Impact. Indeed, in his GSTL match, he had a number of issues with Phoenixes. He lost a lot of units to Vines as a result of Phoenix harassment in the mineral line. And we're seeing a similar kind of attack here by Hurricane. So we're going to need to see a better defense this time around from Impact in order to hold on to that. 2 more gas being taken here. Alright, so we're most likely going to see Mutalisk, you would think, with that much gas coming in and only a single evolution chamber. But one should also bear in mind he's researching Zerg missile attack, so this is a little bit unusual. And the Hydralisk Den coming up here as well. So a lot of gas being mined, no Spire. So it looks like he's going for a very heavy Hydra build in anticipation of Protoss Air Force coming his way, which is exactly what is coming his way. 4 Phoenixes are already up. The Phoenixes move in, attempt to harass. They don't really do much. There are spores up. There's 1 under here. Nicely hidden, actually. He's put the Overlords directly above the spore, which means that they are well defended, and also hides the spore. So that's a little bit more awkward for him. And a couple of spores available here, and a queen as well, but he's able to get lifts regardless. A spore crawler is not the best way of stopping a phoenix. It drives it away after a while, but not before it picks off a number of units. Currently, only 2 workers killed by these phoenixes so far, so not that great. Ling's now on the field as well. Will they be able to do anything? Groot Spine upgrade coming up here for the Hydras. Ooh, sentries almost got caught out there. That would have been terrible for Hurricane if it lost those sentries, but that has not happened. So Lings are now going to make their way to the back here, and they won't find anything. The 3rd base is already functional, and looking to try and get in there. Not able to kill off a sentry, but a lot of force fields used to protect them. These Phoenixes just hanging around in the base right now, but there are Hydras on the way, and there's the Spire follow-up. Hydra and Mutalisk is not a combination you always see, because it doesn't synergize all that well. Hydralisks are very gas-intensive, 50 gas each, and Mutas are, of course, 100 gas, so it can be a bit difficult to build enough of both to matter. Void Ray picks off a lot, but a lot of Overlords were built, so really not a huge deal there. There's a Void Ray coming out. That's 2 already, so this Air Force is starting to get pretty powerful. We might actually see Corruptors come out here. That might not be the worst idea, but if the Void Ray count gets too high, Corruptors tend to die very, very quickly. Mass Muta can work if your opponent doesn't have a high Phoenix count and decides not to go with the Pulse Crystals upgrade, so that could do the job. And we're seeing Hydra Speed coming out here as well, so 16 Hydralisks on the field. The force that is currently on the field for Hurricane is not good enough. He loses 1 Phoenix, a 2nd Phoenix takes significant damage from a Hydra flank there. This could be problematic here for Hurricane. He is kind of caught mid-transition. He's trying to get Colossus out on the field, which he needs to deal with the Hydralisks. He doesn't have enough Phoenixes or Void Rays to fight this many Hydras, so this could come at a really nasty time here. I'm interested to see if Impact decides to go for it. He'll probably end up waiting for the augments there. Builds 8 Corruptors. And again, that is not going to work so well if there's maybe 4 or 5 Void Rays on the field, because those Corruptors will die very quickly. He's getting them to be able to deal with the Phoenixes. Make sure these Hydras don't get picked off very easily. Of course, Corruptors can fight Void Rays, but only in large numbers. Once Void Rays get to a certain point, you just can't touch them. So it's going to be a little bit difficult to deal with, but we'll see how it goes. Here's a warp in. There is now a Colossus on the field. Doesn't have extended thermal lance yet, so that will be helpful, certainly the Hydra force. The speed is now done for Hydras as well. Corruptors move in. Can he get the Mothership Core? It's pretty close. Time Warp goes down to slow things down here. That may very well be a dead Mothership. Oh, he pulls back. He almost had that Mothership Core. That would have been pretty helpful, considering there's enough energy there. And he goes for the engagement. Not the best engagement arc at all here for Impact. The Mothership Core eventually dies, but as you can see, Corruptors don't do anything to Void Rays whatsoever. However, the Colossus without upgrades does go down, and as a direct result, there's enough Hydras to punch through here and really do some damage. And this army is taking heavy losses. Heavier than you would have expected. Admittedly, a lot of Hydralisks were lost there as well, so the Zerg player has lost way, way more than the Protoss, but the Zerg is sitting comfortably on 4 bases here. Alright, well, Hurricane's army is not that scary right now. Doesn't have a huge amount, but he does have a supply advantage, so he's got to watch out. There's a lot of Stalkers. So, Airplay and even Hydras would struggle against a decent amount of Blink Stalkers, for instance, but they don't have Blink as of yet. They're going to have it in a few seconds. Aside from that, we're looking at 2-0 upgrades here versus the 1-0 upgrade for Impact. Very, very light on the upgrades here. The flyer attack upgrade's coming in, but again, this is the weird thing. These upgrades are not going to help that much, because we're talking about +1 and then +1 of the flyers, and really there's only a few corruptors on the field, so I don't know how useful that will really be, with +3 actually starting here for Hurricane. It's a little bit concerning here for Impact, as Hurricane takes his 4th base as well. So I'm a little bit worried that Hurricane is going to be able to just out-tech his opponent. Huge amounts of Hydras coming out here, though. If there aren't enough Colossus, that's still a lot of damage potential. Huge amounts of it, even with only +1. Hydras have very high DPS. In the meantime, Corruptors head out there and try to clean up anything that's coming around the side. For the most part, this army is still not that scary, but I am worried about this upgrade deficit that could start to kick in here. Void Rays are being rebuilt. There's only one on the field right now. Maybe this would be the time to strike, with only one Colossus available at this 3rd base. But a second one is most likely coming in that direction, so I don't really see that doing much. Zealot run-by shut down quite handily here by Impact. You gotta bear in mind, Impact's still able to mine from 4 bases, and has done so uncontested. Very little harassment has happened. 2 workers killed total. The Phoenixes really didn't do anything. And now the Phoenix count's only at 3, so you're not gonna see those too much in the fight. Corruptors are patrolling around to try and make sure like, a Warp Prism doesn't get in there. And there is a Warp Prism somewhere. It, in fact, is over there, and it's been immediately spotted. The Corruptors are now moving into an interception position to take that out. So, that kind of sucks for Hurricane. Doesn't really get anything out of that. Down goes that. Interesting to still see a decent complement of Corruptors here. Generally, you will not, but... Uh-oh, this could end up being terrible! Blink needs to come in immediately. Hurricane blinks out, but not before losing a number of units. Force fields go down here and section this off quite nicely, so that went pretty well. But I've got to say, the Corruptors come in from the side, do significant damage, hammering away, but there just aren't enough of them to really take the Colossus down. Here's the thing, though, the Colossus are in full retreat, and there are lots of Hydras coming in this general direction. Hurricane takes some pretty bad damage, but he's a 4-base Protoss. He can very easily replenish that, and harassment just isn't coming here from Impact. He hasn't done anything yet to harass his opponent. Floating a large amount, huge amount of minerals here, and a lot of gas. I wonder what he's going to build. He's building more Corruptors. And actually, that should work out pretty well, because it seems like we're not seeing any more Void Rays coming out of the Protoss now. Hurricane looking to do more damage. Gonna hammer down on this mineral line and do a decent amount. These are now +3 Zealots, so they're gonna slice through this pretty quickly. We're gonna see a dead Queen here by the looks of it, but he's able to protect it with a drone. And the Queen survives somehow, some way. In the meantime, the Stalker's now moving into an engagement angle, heavily out-upgrading his opponent. +3 Stalkers versus +1 Hydralisks. Hydras will still equip for themselves fairly well if there's no Colossus support. In come the Colossus, and we've got the Corruptors now moving in as well, taking significant fire from the Stalkers on the ground with those heavy upgrades. So many Hydralisks barreling down on this, and he's able to get a flank and take down one of the Colossus. Second Colossus falls, third Colossus falls, and suddenly Impact barrels his way through here. This really shouldn't be happening, but the Colossus died too quickly. He wasn't able to get the fire on them, and a good Hydra Concave is eventually driven away here by Hurricane, but not without damage being taken by the Protoss. Finally, we're seeing some upgrades in tech coming out here from Impact, who's stuck on Hydra Corruptor for ages, and is now making a Mutalisk transition. Sneaky, sneaky. This could catch Hurricane off guard. He's got 21 Stalkers, which isn't actually enough, I feel, to take out 21 Mutalisks and Hydras on the ground. I'm a bit concerned about that. A cheeky 5th base coming out here is not going to happen. Wow, Zealots just pop one after another. Well, it looks like the 5th base is going to hold for now. I think maybe Impact could have just focused that down, but it would have lost a lot of Hydras and been vulnerable to a counterattack, so maybe not. But there's a big Muta transition coming in. 30 Mutalisks versus 21 Stalkers. +2 attack is coming in here. It might work, and wow, a risky base here for Impact, who decides not to take one at the back here. Hasn't smashed those rocks down at all. It's taken one all the way up here, which is a little bit unexpected. Strange place to put it. And here we go. Muta's now moving in. They catch his opponent by surprise. Down goes one of those cannons. Is trying to focus down the Nexus. Does he have enough damage to make that happen? 32 mutas versus 21 Blink Stalkers with +3. Evidently, Impact thinks that's not enough. He's done good damage here, but there's now a big Zealot attack coming towards this base, which is exposed. Hydras are taking damage as well. A lot of them caught out by the charging Zealots. This could be a problem. We've now got Storm on the way. It's not done yet, though. And with 40 mutas about to be ready, I have a feeling that this army here could be absolutely crushed. Without Storm and without a good amount of Archons, this is not going to work out here for Hurricane. He needs to bide his time and actually get that Storm together. Can Impact land a hammer blow before that happens, though? Now with the supply advantage. Going into that mineral line, and that is going to be significant damage done. The entire probe line just evaporating, and he wants to take the Nexus, and he takes it out easily. Blink Stalkers come in from the back here. +2 hasn't kicked in yet for these mutas, so it's maybe not the best fights, but without all of the Blink Stalkers together, it's not enough to stop this rampaging flock of mutas. 34 on the way. 6 more being built here. And we're looking at a Templar Archives being taken out. Zealot Run-By not doing anything. Right now, Hurricane is a little bit too worried about this Mutalisk pack. Storm is now done, but there are only 4 Templar. The Mutas are having a field day. Lings are able to come in and fight here, but they get destroyed by those +3 and +1 armor Zealots. But a couple of Mutas will be able to clean up the rest of this. Not without some economic damage being done. It's going to be another base down for the Muta flock. Very, very cool. Now suddenly we're seeing a Protoss that is starved for resources. He's almost out here, he's out in his main, so really, he's only efficiently mining from here, and this is what the income looks like. It is not that pretty for the Protoss right now. Constantly falling. Pylons going down, there are 45 mutas, 46. It's going to be 50 Mutalisks on the field. That's an insane number of mutas. And they're going to have +2 as well. He engages straight against the Blink Stalker, which is a mistake in my opinion. He lost a good few Mutalisks there. He could have definitely done without that. There's now 39 Blink Stalkers on the field. And there are Archons as well. So I maybe don't know if these mutas can actually fight this now. There are a few too many, and he's throwing them away as well. So this is not helping him that much. 43 mutas, 41 Blink Stalkers, an Archon, and 4 Templar with Storm. And it looks like Hurricane wants to split his army up and go for it. Wants to do some damage, wants to take this base out. And he should be able to do it. No resistance coming in here whatsoever. In the meantime, the Muta flock goes into the back, and that's the one big mining base. It's actually split up now. He's taking out Pylons in the main, taking damage from the Blink Stalkers, but has gutted the third base. In fact, he's going to kill that third Nexus now. That is a huge blow to the Protoss' economy. There's very little that the Protoss can do now to mine. This base is not back up yet. This base is almost mined out. His income plummets right now. Hurricane is in a really bad spot. And he's being forced into this nasty base trade. You don't want to base trade against that many Mutalisks. Hurricane's income is next to nothing, but so is Impact's. Impact is mining from this base right here, but it's not fully saturated. His mutas are over here. He hasn't lost too many. These Stalkers are not engaging efficiently whatsoever. And the muta count has been split into 2, which is absolutely what he needs to do because he has absolutely destroyed his opponent's capability to produce anything. Down go the Stalkers. There's now 35 in the field, but they're actually the other side of the map. In come a bunch more. Hurricane's army all over the place. Now looking to go for the wild base trade. And this one is most likely going to go down too. Nobody's going to be mining anytime soon here. The muta count is right after those Blink Stalkers. 32 versus 26. 1 Archon and 4 Storm available. Hurricane needs to get those good Storms. He absolutely does. If he gets the good Storms and can kill off this muta pack, then he's in a great spot. Bear in mind, there's only 8 drones left for Impact. Only 8. 34 probes. There's still some mining going on, but this game is absolutely wild. Incredibly low economy right now. The Stalkers are now moving into position. Another drone is killed off. That's only 5 remaining. This one's becoming another Spire, which I have to assume was sniped previously. This base is taking damage. No mining going on here whatsoever. This is all Impact's got left. He's sitting on 32 mutas. That's it. That's all he's got. He's got a lot of lava. He can't spend it. He's got no money. Nothing whatsoever. And now we're going to see whether or not this muta pack is going to be good enough. He's taken a lot of fire already. This is definitely not helping him. This hatchery is surprisingly enough still alive, but only just. Long distance mining going on here for Hurricane, who has not reestablished either of his Nexus because he can't. He doesn't have the money for it. And now we've ended a ridiculously low economy game with Hurricane with the slight army advantage, but still 31 Mutalisks on the field here for Impact. What does Impact do from here? He's building more drones. He's continuing to mine from this base in the corner, which I don't believe has been scouted. In fact, it has not. So That may allow him to get away with it. A couple of Lings harassing the Assimilator. Next level meta coming in here. More tech being taken out here by Impact. Loses a Mutalisk. Is able to regather and micro here. But doesn't want to be on the edge here. Doesn't want to take fire from those Stalkers anywhere more than he has to. Lings are now finally being cleaned up. Unfortunately, they were not able to destroy their nemesis, the Assimilator over there. That's very disappointing. Mutas have now resumed production with income looking just disastrously bad for both players, but Hurricane is actually losing out here because he has nowhere else to mine from. He's got, like, 2 mineral fields which are almost gone here. He hasn't re-established his Nexus yet. It is still being built, and if it gets sniped, suddenly this game could turn around here. Supply is still in favor of the Protoss, but it's 26 probes that can't mine. Unfortunately, the Blinkstalkers did spot this base and have now taken it out, so he's going to have to mine from here, which is almost mined out. This game is insane already. Alright, can he kill it? He's looking for it. He finds the probes, and he's going to be able to get a lot of them here and then dodge out. Now down to 7 probes is the Protoss. Protoss desperately trying to hang on here. By all metrics, he had the edge, but honestly, he wasn't able to deal with the Mutas, and if you can't stop the Mutas, they're just going to keep coming back. They regenerate, they have speed, they are reasonably well upgraded. I mean, we're looking at 2-0 Mutas here. They can do work. Right now, it seems like Hurricane is forced to try and find more mining bases and kill them off. This one is almost dead. This one will pop in a couple of shots. But right now, Impact says, I know where your army is. Your base is undefended. This is your only mining base right now, and I'm going to kill it. Hurricane kind of going in the wrong direction. He needs to find the base that's mining, and he can't do it. Down goes the only surviving Nexus here, and there are not enough probes for Hurricane to really come back from this position. At this point, it's Hurricane's army versus the army of Impact. And there's still mining going on for Impact. He's not mining a lot, but he's still mining a little bit. Tech is now going to be destroyed, of course, and we're now in a base race scenario. But I have to wonder if Hurricane actually has enough in his army to kill it. I think he does if he lands good storms. Like, there's a lot of storm available. There are 4 Templar that should basically have full energy by now. They do. So it's a huge amount of storm available. Maybe it is enough. If Impact takes huge storms and then the Stalkers finish it off, he's in big trouble. Oh, wow. Hatchery coming up in the corner here because he knows this is a base trade. And honestly, Mutas are not that great when it comes to base trades just because they don't have enough damage. They're very fast moving, but will he be able to kill everything in time? This is just now devolved into I want to kill you before you kill me kind of scenario. Overlord's being killed, which actually isn't going to help at all. He needs to find buildings. He's got to find them. Hurricane's not rebuilt his base. All the Nexus are now down, so Impact knows where everything is. And honestly, I'm not sure if Hurricane can actually kill his opponent fast enough. There's an extractor going down here. These are the 2 buildings left on the map, I think. So there's that extractor, this extractor, and that hatchery. Oh, wow. This is so tense right now. If these storms land, if indeed he's able to engage and destroy the Mutas, then that's going to be GG here. There's still a lot more buildings these Mutas need to kill. It looks like Hurricane hasn't found all of them, though. There is still 1 extractor in the corner. Is there a hatchery anywhere? No, there's another extractor going down here. However, that's being revealed. Will he go for it? If Hurricane's got any sense, he will go and try and kill those buildings. I wonder if the Mutas will actually kill this stuff in time. He's cleaned up a lot of stuff. Colossus gets caught. Big storm. Second big storm. Doesn't kill the Mutas, though. Hurricane choosing to try and engage here. He's going into a little bit of panic mode. Hurricane needs to kill 4 extractors. His opponent has only got to kill a fraction of buildings. Impact could actually make this happen. He could go for a building win here. He's trying to evade the damage that's coming in from the Archons, the Storm, and the Stalkers. Another building goes down. Another building goes down. There are still a lot of gateways that need to be killed here, though. Can Impact actually finish this off? Another extractor down. Another one taking damage. There's so little left on the map for Impact. Will he choose to engage now? He may decide to try and take this Blinkstalker force out while it's split off from the remainder of the pack, but it looks like he missed it. Couple of Mutas being split off here, by the looks of it. 2 Mutalisks sent out to kill that Stalker. He may be able to save this extractor, but does he have enough damage? It's very, very close. Another extractor goes down, and that one's gonna die. There are 2 buildings left on the map here for Impact. There is still a base of Protoss, and there are units there, but Are there enough? This is really dicey. Hurricane has split off a set of his stalkers, which is highly risky, but he really has to. He's got to kill those remaining extractors. There's 2 on the map. Another pylon taken out. He left it undefended. That's another building going down here. Once again, undefended. There's nowhere near enough stalkers here. He's relying on his Storm and his Archons. And more stalkers caught out. Couple more taken out here. 33 Mutas versus 18 Stalkers, 4 Templar, 4 Sentries, and an Archon. But right now, Impact is zoning off that Protoss army. He's trying his best to make sure that it can't sneak out. And now an engagement's coming in. Storm does some damage, but not that much. Another Storm. Pretty good. Not good enough yet. Those Mutas are still alive. 31 versus 15 Stalkers now. This is going in the favor of the Zerg player. But it could still go either way. With the Stalkers down, he's reliant really on the Archon and the Storm, but there's still a lot of Storm. Good Storms could wipe this out. This is really dicey, and Impact knows it. He's going to pick up another pylon for free. That's going to leave just a few more buildings left. Some fire from the ground here. Doesn't kill a Muta. Hurricane now in defensive position. He's lost too many units to really risk sending any out to kill anything. He's scouting for the remaining buildings. Of course, he already knows where there are. Well, where they are. There's no hatcheries left on the field to actually block the vision. So there are 2 extractors that Hurricane must kill. But if he leaves the base, he will lose every building here before he's able to kill those extractors. And that's the risk. And he comes in again from the... doesn't get it. Doesn't get it. That might allow the shields. A whiffed Storm there. Hurricane a bit shaky. Oh, this is so dicey. In theory, the Zerg player should have this, but if he runs right into a Storm and loses this, and then the Blink Stalkers go and finish off these buildings, that will be that. Right now... Oh, he's going to split it. An interesting idea. Splits the pack off. Can be very, very risky. Some Stalkers now moving out. He's moving away from the buildings. I think he's trying to lure... Is he trying to lure that army away? He's lured them away from the buildings. The majority of the Mutas stab in. Hurricane is out of position. He doesn't react quickly enough. Another gateway's going to fall here. This is dicey stuff here for the Protoss player. Still 31 Mutas. Is going to be another dead assimilator almost. He's going to go for the 1-2. He realizes that Hurricane's army is not large enough to fight against 2 groups of Mutas. Takes out another building. Storm coming in from that side, and 2 big Storms doesn't kill a Mutalisk, though. More damage done to the Assimilator, and these 2 groups are now being microed independently, and Hurricane is now forced to split his groups up and say, I've got to fight them both. That's nowhere near enough, but he's still got to watch out for the Storm. The thing is, there's not many Storms left. There aren't that many Storms, at least relative to how there used to be. There were way more available earlier. He's got to be so careful, though. Still, good Storms could stop this. But Hurricane cannot leave his base right now. It all comes down to how well he engages against these 2 Mutalisk packs. Impact wheeling in. A big Storm, heavy damage, second Storm. That's 2 Mutas that went down, a lot of them on the red there as well. And Impact is now moving into position. Hurricane anticipates. He knows that's going to happen. Shield's going to take some damage here. If Impact keeps doing this, though, and runs through the Storm energy, then he may be able to make it happen. He takes more damage to the Mutas, but he doesn't lose one this time. Coming in to stab again at that, and Hurricane anticipates, but it isn't enough. 1 hit point remaining on this Assimilator. It seems like the Zerg can win from this position. It really does. With these High Templar now significantly lower on energy, it really does. The Mutas are going to regen faster than the energy can. And he may be able to take this out. He needs to kill 5 Protoss buildings. 5. There are no probes left for the Protoss, so he can't build anything else. Impact is gonna finish it right now. He's regenerated enough. He feels he's gonna go from both sides simultaneously to try and draw his opponent out. These Templar can only be in one place at once. If he splits the Templar up, they might get sniped off. Good damage done by the Archon. Pops out another Mutalisk. That's 27 now. Stabs in, but Hurricane defending pretty well. Another Storm, and it's a good one. A couple more Mutalisks picked off. Down to 26 now. What's the Storm energy like? He's got 1, 2, 3, 4 Storms. And of course, he's got that Archon. He doesn't even have enough for Guardian Shield left on these. Pops his last Guardian. Muta's coming around the side right now. They could get an angle on this Warp Gate, maybe. But Hurricane refuses to give this one up. And he's right to do so. He could still beat this. I think, though, Impact thinks he's got enough now. He does. He has enough to kill this. Archon goes down before it kills anything. All the sentries are now going to die. That was a nice pick-off. Hurricane was expecting 2 groups, not 1. And Hurricane's army is now way smaller. The Archon is gone. The only thing that Hurricane's got going for him right now is storm energy. And he's got to land some amazing storms. Army supply is now heavily in favor of the Zerg player. He comes in again. The storm's now moving into position. These have got to be incredible storms. There are only 9 Stalkers left. They really have to be very, very good indeed, but he split them up again. Impact with the smaller group, 1 storm drops on it. Stalkers managed to pick off 1 muta, but they're coming in from the side again. This is exposed. This group is way too small to defend both areas now. He's gonna stab in from the side and try to do yet more damage. Chases in, dodges a storm, comes in from the side again. Assimilator takes yet more damage, now attacks in this direction. These Templar don't know what they're doing. They need a speed upgrade. 21 mutas. For Templar, there's the nice blink from Hurricane, but it looks like Impact thinks he can engage. Another storm comes down. It's a little bit risky. He's losing more Mutalisks here. But this might be enough. It just very well might be enough. That was the second of last storm. The last storm goes down. 2 Archons being morphed in here. So little left of either side. 2 Archons morphing. 1 is going to die immediately. The second one has been morphed. 1 muta down, 2 muta down. That's it. Hurricane has nothing left. 6 Mutalisks and a drone on the field. GG. An absolutely insane match there by Axiom, Impact, and Hurricane, who fought to the very last unit. 13 supply versus 0 to finish that battle off. Crazy. Absolutely crazy. Ladies and gentlemen, you have been watching a little bit of StarCraft 2 action. Hopefully you enjoyed that as much as I did. That was beyond ridiculous. I'll see you next time.